And we're back with another episode of the Lakers Fast Break podcast. It's Gerald Glassford coming right back at you here from Lakers Fast Break, Pop Culture Cosmos, where we cover the latest news and trends in pop culture each and every week, twice a week, wherever you get your podcasts. Also, as well, of course, go ahead and check out what they're doing today. Of course, for you at Lakerholics.com, you know the guys from the Lakerholics crew are happy about the big win for Luka Doncic and the Los Angeles Lakers today. Go ahead and check them out today at Lakerholics.com. My good friends, we're all gathered around today watching on the simulcast, but it headed up on playback.tv/Lakers Fast Break. Hopefully you guys got a great earful of what we said and was what was shown as far as the game is concerned. Go ahead and check us out each and every time right there for you at playback. Of course, Lakers Fast Break, playback.tv/Lakers Fast Break indeed. Thank you, Nico. All right, that's what they were shouting. We'll go ahead and make sure we get that as far as the synopsis is concerned. Also, as well, of course, don't forget our good friends, including Empire Jeff TV, covering the Lakers and Dodgers. Of course, also as well, Daniel Berry Sports Highlights. Yo! Thank you, Ruff. Appreciate it. Again, I had a listener, an audience member, sent me two of these. They are not official, but they do say 77, and they do have Doncic on the back right there. So I was very, very grateful for the kind gift that they sent me, indeed. But of course, also as well, got the whole crew coming on, including John Costa, Clutch Talk, and Lakers Corner. Joe Sorrell, the Joe Sorrell Experiment. Sean Grice, I'm hoping he'll stop by, heading up our playback crew once again. And of course, everything that we do for you. But you've also got to make sure that you do something for us. Like, subscribe, make sure you do whatever you can to help us out right here at the Lakers Fast Break, including becoming a member today for just $2.99 a month. Go ahead and get some good emojis, badges. I put stuff on the inside for you guys, polls, videos, a bunch of good stuff on a monthly basis right there for you because we love you, hopefully as much as you love us right here at the Lakers Fast Break podcast. Well, while the guys are still trying to find their way here, I want to go ahead and give you a recap of the game. This was the game that we've been circling on our calendar for quite some time. At least Luka Doncic has. His return to Dallas. The Prodigal Son returned today, but as a member of the Los Angeles Lakers, and after getting a very emotional video that did have him crying, you could see it clearly. He did come out. You were worried that when you get that kind of emotional video, that how's it gonna impact you? How is it gonna impact Luka? Well, you know what? He overcame the tears. He overcame the tears and basically just killed it in that first half, guiding the Lakers with 31 points. The Lakers took a 3-point lead. They had as much as a double-digit lead in the second half, but near the end of the third quarter and into the fourth quarter, kind of gave that ball away. It gave the lead away with Dallas Mavericks getting a scant 2-point lead. But the Lakers, after that early run, early in the fourth quarter, decided to go ahead and turn it on once again. Luka came back in the game. LeBron started turning it up. The defense really held their own as they held Dallas to 40 points in the second half. And the Lakers pulled away at the end and in a very emotional ending for Luka Doncic, 112-97. Chants throughout for Luka, chants throughout for thank you, Nico, raining down. It seemed like it was almost like a Lakers home game because there was so many fans cheering everything for Luka. And I'll tell you what, I'm just so glad that we were able to go ahead and get the victory for us. But while the guys are still on their way in, I'm going to go ahead and see if I can send them the message once again. It is, of course, the Lakers Fast Break. The Lakers, with the victory today, they do clinch a playoff spot in the Western Conference. Now, where it is and where it lands is still yet to be determined. But at least for now, the Lakers are officially in the playoffs with the victory tonight. So hopefully we can go ahead and get some of the guys here to get on and go ahead and give us some of their analysis again. But yes, we're going to go ahead and talk to you now. Yes, Xbox is looking for Lloyd Avenue. He hasn't been here a little while. I wonder why. Could it be convenient timing? about Luka's increased play. So we'll see. But CJ said, I just like the video and you should too. Yes, absolutely. Don't forget to light Costa. Hopefully he'll be by as well. 45 points for Luka Doncic tonight. Just an absolutely great performance by him, especially in that first half. And the Lakers on the defensive end in that second half. I know there were some people throughout the broadcast that were just very unconvinced about the Lakers, very unconvinced about if they were going to win the game, about how Jason Kidd would be out coaching JJ Redick and all that. I read those comments. I read those comments out loud. I was kind of dismayed that the crowd out there, in certain parts of the crowd, did not have faith in the Los Angeles Lakers. So I'm hoping that this victory today and the fact that the Lakers did clinch a playoff berth, hopefully will give you guys a little bit more confidence and satisfaction out there. So hopefully you'll be able to go ahead and get the job done. Wow, no joker. I am truly blessed. Thank you so much. Truly, truly cannot thank you enough for the super chat. It does help the channel, absolutely. No joker with the very extremely generous $50 super chat because we made the damn playoffs and Luka cooked. And I'm just so grateful today to go ahead and discuss his thoughts on today's game. Was a guy who was not deterred despite all the comments out there that I repeated throughout the day. Is a good man indeed. He is, of course, the guy behind, or one of the guys behind, Corrupt on Steam. Go ahead and get that right now for your fighting game fix that's out there. Also, as well, his company, Simblades with a Y.com. Go ahead and help you with that front lawn, back lawn, or a whole bunch of different landscaping and just basically a lot of good things needs as far as synthetic turf and
You're
more.
awesome.
He could go ahead and make sure that happens for you at Simblades.com. And of course, his YouTube channel. It is, of course,
You're
just
awesome.
Thank you so much again for being here, Joe. Once again, well, you're awesome. Once again, I guess it's Raphael. Is it Raphael that's giving out
You're awesome.
memberships? Truly cannot thank him for doing that. Joe, it was an emotional game today, an emotional day, but Luka, he got through it. He lit us up in the first half, and
You're
it was
awesome.
the defense that carried us home in the second half, Joe.
It was an entertaining game. We didn't really know where it was going to go, especially when the Lakers gave up that 13-point lead and ended up having a 1-point deficit. But that's not something that's not unusual. What happens is a lot of times is teams, usually inferior teams, will fight back. They'll catch up, maybe even taking a short stint in terms of the lead. And then you'll quickly see the team that should be winning or the team that was just relinquished its lead all of a sudden start scoring again.
You're awesome.
Because they worked so hard to come through from that deficit, and then they kind of run out of energy, and that's exactly what happened. And as soon as Dallas went back down,
You're awesome.
I'm sorry if I'm kind of bumbling and stumbling here. I keep hearing that stupid "you're awesome" thing, so it's throwing my thinking off.
Thank you, Corbina. Thank you, Raphael.
You're awesome.
And then LeBron hooked up his boy tonight. LeBron did, in that latter stage of the game, what we always beg him to do because he's the greatest ever to do it, and that is get to the basket and the easy layup, right? That is the surest play in basketball.
You're
LeBron to the basket. I understand why he doesn't do it as much these days is because it is taxing, but he was able to find enough energy today to do that, and it essentially killed any chance of Dallas coming back. It really kind of took their heart out. And then Luka came in, threw a couple other shots to put the dagger in, and couldn't have gone as well as it did. I was very, very happy with everything tonight.
Once again, the Lakers with the victory, 112-97. They moved to 48-31 on the season. They have clinched a playoff berth. in the Western Conference. Still remains to be seen whether they have the third spot yet, but if Denver loses tonight on the road at Sacramento, obviously that will go a long way for the Lakers to clinch that third seed. But Joe, you heard me saying it throughout the night, whether it was Juan or Rodell on YouTube, whether it was the comments that were made by JSJ and others on playback.tv/Lakers Fast Break. People I think are still going into this game, still some of them kind of still fuzzy, still a little bit. They miss AD and they miss Max, and they kind of still have that. If we would have done it over again, they would still lean a different direction, or at least that's what the vibe I get from their comments. And I'll just say this: if tonight's performance did not convince you that what the Lakers did was the best decision for the franchise going forward, I don't know what will convince you. Even if Luka takes them all the way to a championship, I still don't know if those naysayers, those people that are still sentimental for Max Christie, sentimental for Anthony Davis, are still going to ever change their minds. I'm just not convinced if what Luka did tonight in that first half will ever get them to change.
I'm not really thinking about it, honestly. And I don't even know if they're serious, to be honest with you. This isn't confusing.
I certainly hope not.
You're
I
awesome.
understand missing AD. I kind of miss AD sometimes, especially when he's on. But the problem is AD had a hard time turning it back on since 2020 and 2021. He hasn't really been the same player. He played a full season last year, practically, and he still wasn't on. Too many gaffes, too many no-shows in big moments. And you need that. You need that in that position. You can't disappear in the big games. And big games can be in the regular season too, because it sets a mentality, it sets a reputation. It also helps you dictate where you place. There's so much at stake in basketball when it comes to the regular season. Might be probably the most important regular season in sports because of that. The results in the playoffs state that the better you are in the regular season, the higher seed you are, the more likely you're going to win. It's extremely rare that teams win championships when they're not in the upper top 3 in their conference. Lakers weren't able to do that with AD for 2 years. They were sort of getting there this year, but we're never going to know if that's how it would have ended. But I'm not going to I would say if I had somebody come and say, "Well, what do you think would have happened?" If you were wagering, I'd be like, "Well, they probably would have ended up the way they were the last 2 years because that's what they had." With Luka, it's a different game when you have a man that can do the things he does, because I don't know anyone right now that really does what he does. It's not just numbers. There's a execution, there's an understanding of what's going on on the basketball court that I don't see anybody else have. There's better, maybe a couple better players that you can say are there, but it's not. This is a different beast, and
there's no one with the gravitational pull in the NBA that he does. You could say Nikola Jokic is the best player in the world, and I would not debate you on that. But then don't tell me that he has more gravitational pull than Luka Doncic. Luka is first in the Lakers in the following category since the trade: points, assists, rebounds, steals, plus minus, rebounds.
Alan, Steph did have the gravitational pull, but he's long in the tooth. You're talking about a guy that got drafted in 2009. He's been in the league a while.
Steph is a dying star. Luka hasn't. Luka's a star that planets surround itself by. That's what you're trying to surround Luka with, planets.
And please don't mind Sean. Sean has shrunk So don't worry about it, guys. Let it go.
Yeah, I have not shrunk, ladies and gentlemen. I am still the same 6'1" Sean Grice I was 2 minutes ago.
Is that with
Oh,
your
that's okay. So
platforms or with your flip
it would be
flops?
it would be you, me. I'm just about an inch taller, and then Joe. Man, that's a lineup.
Look
If
at
there ever
this
was one.
lineup. You know what's funny? Off topic, real quick, Sean. Furio and Chrissy, they had this Facebook page, and it was a picture of him, Chrissy, and I think it might have been Pussy, right? By the way, his name is Pussy, guys. It's not derogatory. And I wrote that, and they all liked it, and it's their page. Anyways,
That's pretty funny, Joe.
it was funny. I wasn't expecting that.
And it's funny you mentioned that because I do remember that. Yes.
There's the game. The game today had so much meaning for one guy, and I thought it was nice to see the other superstar really kind of back it up with him too. That it just, I got a good feeling because I've been talking about this for a while that Luka got exposed in the finals on defense, but he still was very formidable on offense. But I had said this. It's on tape, guys. It's not something I said after Luka became a Laker. But Kyrie Irving was completely shut down in the finals by the Celtics, and you saw tonight that you can't shut down LeBron. He might make really dumb passes once in a while. He might have low IQ decisions here and there, but when playoffs come with Luka, this is going to be an interesting setup. We're going to find out here how this is going to play out, and I have confidence that LeBron is never going to get shut down like that, at least not right now.
But once again, it is, of course, the Lakers Fast Break. A big shout out to Daniel Berry Sports Highlights.
Who are you blah-blahing to?
What?
Who are you blah-blahing to? I'm reading it.
Oh, he was calling your Los Angeles inspector or whatever.
Oh, is he talking about his, stuff?
He says I look so hot in this jersey. Then he started going off even more, and I'm just like, give me a break. But
it's got to be somebody I know. It's probably somebody I know that's acting
probably
like a
someone.
complete asshat.
It is the Lakers Fast Break. It is, of course, Gerald.
Show yourself, you bum.
Joe Sora.
If you are somebody I know, then just show yourself. Tell me who you are.
Lakers win 112-97. Also
Moist
here today is a
towelette.
good man indeed. With the win today, and the Lakers have clinched a playoff spot in the top 6 seed. But also here today, good man indeed. He is the madman from Toronto. He did get out of Toronto traffic to stop on by here today to watch the game on playback, to rag on Joe and everyone else for a couple hours, and also watch Luka get the job done today. It is, of course, the Magic Man, Sean Grice. What were the alternate names that Kurt Affair gave you? The Grice is right. I think what was a couple?
Of Grice and Men. Of Grice.
Yes,
and
of Grice and Men. Yeah, he had a couple good ones. But Sean, convincing victory as the Lakers pulled away with a absolutely just fantastic defensive performance in the second half. I guess limiting the Mavericks to 40 points. For a while, it got interesting. The Mavs actually pulled out and got a lead. They overtook the Lakers, but it just seemed like as soon as Luka came back in, there was no problem. There was no worries. The Lakers are going to get back into gear and get the job done. On a night, it just seemed like it was inevitable that there was no way that Luka was going to lose, with the whole crowd chanting for him, cheering for him, repeatedly chanting "Fire Nico." It did not look like there was going to be any way the Lakers and Luka would lose this game, Sean.
Absolutely, Gerald. And I'm not sure what I didn't hear everybody's thoughts on what was going through their mind as watching the Luka video tribute. My mind went to one quote and one quote alone. And that was Gerald. I think you'll appreciate this. Theatricality and deception are powerful agents to the uninitiated. But we aren't uninitiated, are we, Bruce? I thought that was hamming it up, trying to get to his emotions. Like it was emotional manipulation at its finest, Gerald.
It's a 77 jersey, Mission 24. I
And
had a
he handled it. He handled it just like the League of Shadows would. 45 points, cold, Gerald. Just absolutely cold from the start. And again, just goes to show that not only does he come up big in probably the most emotional game he's ever played in, probably the most mentally straining game he's ever played in, and he gives you your money's worth. The reason why we say gravitational pull and through the turnstiles is because there are only certain athletes on the globe that can leave you wondering whether you should get up and get a beer because you might miss something amazing that would happen. People question themselves at Laker games in the 80s, Gerald, whether or not to get up and go get a beer after a timeout because Magic was returning to the floor, or Michael was returning to the floor, or me and Joe were discussing it. If Ohtani is coming up to bat, like there are just certain moments now in sports where you pause. And you pause now when Luka is in a Laker uniform. It's the same thing with Kobe. The same thing with Magic I experienced. You can't take your eyes off what you're watching.
Absolutely. Joe, I'm going to bring it to you. One of the things that frustrates me is something that you have repeatedly talked about is the Lakers' ability to get to the basket. I understand there are individuals such as Vando, as we saw tonight, and Rui, to an extent, who are not great finishers around the basket. But we have two of the best finishers around the basket in Luka Doncic and LeBron James. So it's kind of frustrating, Joe, when you see they have layups right in their face and they'll still pass out for what is probably not a better shot in the mix. But I understand that's the way the game is being played right now. But you said it best. The team works best. LeBron is best going to the basket. And Doncic, as well, as we saw tonight, him repeatedly take Marshall, take Christie, take these guys repeatedly off the dribble, repeatedly burn them. And there is just no way with both LeBron and Luka getting to the basket like that. If the other team just does not stand a chance. And that's obviously something that other teams have to play and scheme for when it comes to the playoffs, Joe.
You're gonna have a different resistance the deeper you get into the playoffs. There's more athletic guards in the top three this year than there are below it. So you have Boston, you have Cleveland, and you have Oklahoma City. But we saw with Oklahoma City that they were committed to a twin tower lineup, and the Lakers exploited it. That's the NBA. And a lot of the reasons why they do that, get to the basket, give up the layup, easy layup, is they're fixated on that 3-point number. We want to get 3 points here. We want to get 3 points here so we can continue staying in the game or extending the lead. That's fine. I get it. But what I want in terms of their decisions on that is when you're not making the shots, take the layup. That's how I look at it. Because we can sit here and talk about how they need to get to the rim regularly until we're blue in the face. It's the NBA is not going to. The systems don't do that anymore.
Yeah,
their focus is to get the long ball in there. But my retort to that is, okay, fine. When you're hitting your shots, that makes sense. But can you take the layup when you're not hitting shots? They didn't score for 3.5 minutes at some point in this game. And what happened after that? As soon as Dallas came back, they started going to the rim. This isn't This isn't rocket science. I know LeBron can't do this every game. He could have 7 years ago, but he can't do it now unless he's really, really rested, which playoff time, there's always a day off, right? There's not any back-to-backs. So a lot of the reasons why I feel comfortable with LeBron and Luka playing together is because the games are going to be more focused on one team per series, and you're going to have more rest for guys that will desperately need it. How this plays out, maybe we see something unique this year. Maybe we see we've already seen a unique thing. We saw a superstar traded mid-season in his prime completely as a surprise. It wasn't a demand. It wasn't two stars being traded for each other. I mean, I know AD is a star, but I'm not talking at the volume of Luka. It wasn't like Luka's being traded for Jokic, something like that. This was a franchise resetting trade for the Lakers. AD is not resetting the Dallas Mavericks. They regressed. They're going to regress. So how this plays out is going to depend on them being able to identify when and where to do certain things. Today would be nice to see if they can do that with other teams. And then the other thing is, can they not make boneheaded plays at the worst times? Please give the ball to Luka. Let Luka take the ball out. Let him get the ball in, and then get him the ball. Now, we are seeing is we've seen a lot of press coverage on Luka. You're going to get that nonstop for the rest of probably this year, and whenever the Lakers don't have someone that can make them pay for that every time, right? I am going to wait to see how that plays out. That's really the last thing for me, minus an injury. So we'll find out. We'll find out in a week.
Magic, let me bring it back to you. And once again, the Lakers win 112-97. They have clinched a top 6 seed in the Western Conference. Again, depending on who loses tonight, if a certain team loses, like Golden State or Denver, they may even get closer to that much talked about 3rd seed. But Magic Man, I'll bring it back to you. JJ Redick is who I'm going to bring up right now. I remember during the course of the game, I think I was also reading comments. One of them said that tonight, the way things were going, that it was going to be in Dallas's favor because Jason Kidd would totally outcoach JJ Redick, I believe. And while JJ Redick does get a lot of the issues and got a lot of the abuse from us when they were having that little bit of a problem, an issue over the past 2-3 weeks. These past 3 games, though, Magic, despite the fact that, some will still say, rightly so, that the Lakers maybe lean on the small ball a little bit too much. Unfortunately, with the roster they have, that might be one of their only effective options. I'll leave that up to you on your opinion on if they played small ball too much. But with all the credit that we give Luka, all the credit we give LeBron for playing so well in that second half, for all the credit we give AR and the rest of the team for what they do, JJ Redick, who we have, again, been high, up and low, and up and down on. It is his rookie coaching season. Getting into the playoffs, he did formulate a great plan on Sunday, formulated a plan that up until Luka getting kicked out could have been a winning formula on Tuesday, and he looked like he outcoached Jason Kidd in that second half on Wednesday.
Absolutely, Gerald. So let's try and make sense of what, because I listened in there on the halftime notes. The notes. Gerald, I sometimes question whether or not the sideline reporters actually asked the questions they asked to the actually people they're supposed to be asking these questions about. That being said, Lisa Salter said that Jason Kidd was satisfied with the job that they did on Luka, even though he had 31 points in how many minutes in the first half, Gerald? What was it? 18?
18.
Yeah. And he said that if they wanted to be there in the end, they would have him take more layups. Well, we got more layups in the third quarter, Gerald, and that continued because then LeBron got more layups. And then Rui got a layup here and there. And then Reeves got a layup. And they just kept giving us lanes. And this team is smart enough to take the lane and take the bucket. I mean, it's the path of least resistance is the game of basketball as well, Gerald. As much as we want to analyze it, what's the easiest way we could get a bucket right now? The Lakers can break you down. That's because of Luka and LeBron. And Gerald, despite poor 3-point shooting from LeBron and AR, the Lakers, as a starting unit, still shot 11 to 22, 50% from beyond the arc.
But they shot 33 overall, but you knew that number coming away from Oklahoma City, where they averaged 50% in both those games. You knew that number was going to go
it's going
down.
to come back to the law of averages, of course.
Yeah. But how you handle it. It's how you handle it when you're not shooting as well, which is exactly to what Joe said about when you're not shooting well, take it to the basket. You've got two of the best individuals that can take it to the basket of anyone in the league. And I think they understood that in that second half, Sean. Once they realized, that fourth quarter did not start out well. They lost the lead. But it just seemed like it was just a matter of time, just a matter of time before the Lakers woke up, finally realized, you know what, let's go ahead and finish this game off. It just needed to be something that needed to turn them on, that light switch on, which irritates me, which again, all good or great teams have. They always seem to look for that light switch to turn on instead of just going right for the jugular when they need to.
And you saw something too in Dallas that we saw way too much in LA, and that is empty performances in important games. Dallas still has to win in some way. I mean, I think they probably have the 10th spot solidified, maybe, right? But what if they lose the next three and Portland wins the next three? I don't know. I'm just saying. They have a reason to play. But the fact that you had AD he was really a non-factor, honestly. I didn't really see any presence there from him. And Max Christie had 11 points, but he had one block and a couple of good moves. That's pretty much what he is right now.
But okay, let me just say this: when he had his little run where he had that block and he had the basket right there, I mean, we're seeing the comments. Man, we wish we could have wish we could have traded AR and kept Max.
What? Who said that?
I'm like, that was during the game. You did not hear Joe and I going off on that?
I don't know. I don't think that's real. And if it is, it's like beating up a mentally challenged person at this point. I'm not going to go there. You cannot talk about this trade in any way that makes sense if you don't absolutely know that it was one-sided with no sided on the Dallas side. This is 100-0 trade. Not 95-5. This is 100 on the side of the Lakers, 0 for Dallas. And it's something, if you truly are in denial about, you need to start being undenial. That's not a word, but you need to. I might as well talk words that don't exist because that's what you've become. You've become something that just can't figure out what real life is. The Lakers are in a position to possibly win a championship right now. And that would not have been the case if Max Christie and Anthony Davis were on this team. And more importantly, the Lakers have a future. They did not have a future with AD. And that's a fact. There could be an injury, sure, but that's not something That's not something you see until it happens, right? It's just not something that happens. And if you look at the intensive work from a Luka or a Jokic, they don't really exert themselves. They're very methodical. They're very, I don't want to use the word slow. Methodical is the way to go. They're very understanding of spacing and time and distance. That's what makes them great. And this is a ball handling guard too, to boot. Jokic isn't really he doesn't bring the ball up. I mean, he does once in a while, but that's not his job. His job is to get to the elbow and create from there. Luka can create from anywhere. So imagine when this guy has the set team the way he wants. He's gonna win championships, and he's gonna win championships more than once.
And you were close, by the way. That, ladies and gentlemen, this man has a university education, and he doesn't know that undeniable is a word. Undeniable is a word. Now, he was close. He was close, but just a little bit off.
Robert Wheeler question of the day. Joe, according to him, do you think LeBron's closing ability late in the fourth quarter will be better this postseason due to Luka and the rest of the Lakers team being great enough to carry the offense for the first 3 quarters? Joe, your thoughts on this? Magic Man, I'll ask you the same.
I have an answer to that. What JJ Redick needs to do is he really needs to start working on this, and this is let Luka inbound the ball and get the ball if you can to LeBron, or someone that can get the ball to LeBron off the inbound pass, and see if you can create an offense where it opens space up for him to go to the basket. And then if things get closed off, make sure Luka's waiting in the corner, make sure Luka's waiting somewhere, and get the ball to Luka. And you can I trust AR too. I trust AR in the clutch as well. But Luka or AR have to get that ball with space, and LeBron has to go to the basket. I don't want to see LeBron get the ball at the top of the three-point area, dribble the ball, wait for the number to get to 4, and then try to shoot something from there. He's not going to make that shot. That's not who he is. So either LeBron goes to the basket and passes out, or gets the layup. And make sure that pass goes to Luka or AR. Thank you.
When they were
Go ahead, John.
When they were first assimilating, playing together, LeBron did what I thought he might do, and that is he has the ball, and within maybe a quarter of a second, he's going to decide whether to dribble, pass, or shoot. And if it's dribble or pass, the dribble or pass needs to be in the direction of Luka Doncic, chilled. And normally LeBron would do that. Now, they've gone in a bit of a different direction as well. LeBron is trying to go ISO, Gerald, but as we've seen, when it doesn't work on multiple possessions, Luka just says, give me the ball. Like, I think it's just known that on multiple possessions, if LeBron's trying to go in ISO, it's about redirecting the team back towards getting the ball back in Luka's hands, guys making quick decisions. I mean, Gabe Vincent and DFS were a little off on the threes tonight, but at least they took them. We need guys that are just going to take the shots. Don't hesitate, just shoot off the pass. Now, one thing I will say, I think we are trying to be a little too cute around the horn. I think that secondary pass, you either need to shoot or just try and dribble and go to the basket and get a foul, because it usually ends up in a bad shot in the corner, Gerald, that's really contested, and we end up in a bad transition opportunity, or nobody's underneath the basket and we lose a position anyway. I'm a little frustrated at that.
Let me ask you this. Great answer for that, Magic Man. Joe, Parade on Figueroa. Always great to have him there on Twitch. One of our great Twitch supporters right there for you. Are any of you worried about Dalton Connect. This is to the panel, Magic Man myself. I wish you would watch our playbacks parade because we talk about it all the time on playback. It's something we touch on more quite a bit on the playback feed because it's in real time. He said, personally, I think Dalton is being underutilized. I think to an individual, we've talked about it. I think there's only one dissenting vote. I think JSJ is the only one who can't stand Dalton right now. And for good reason. It's the defense. I understand it's the defense. But Joe, do you think Dalton is being underutilized as we head into the playoffs?
There's always one. There's always one player on a roster where the coach is a little bit harder on that player, and it's not a surprise that it's a rookie. Being a rookie in the NBA is very, very hard. It's not like being in the NFL. An NFL rookie can be a difference maker and be very good out the gate. Sean, would you say a hockey player could be good out the gate too?
100%, Joe.
Was Matthews? He was good out the gate, wasn't he?
Matthew scored 4 goals in his first game.
Exactly.
In the NHL.
So, and then if you go to baseball's different because you don't really. It's really weird how the quote unquote rookie plays in baseball. You've had guys that get called up in September, play for 2 months, and then they come back the following year. If they didn't play enough games the year before, they're considered rookies. Plus, they've been playing professional baseball for like 2-3 years, right? So I don't want to put baseball in there. There's very few Bryce Harpers and Ken Griffey Jr.'s. It's a different game in baseball. But in football and in hockey, you have rookies that can make a difference out the gate. In basketball, because most of the great players or the potentially great players are only playing a year in college, they're too raw. Now, if they're playing 4 years in college, there's a reason why they're playing 4 years in college because they're not those guys, right? Rookies in the NBA are just not – they cannot usually think – they have to think too much to play. And
Which
Dalton,
is why Phil Jackson called them whale poop.
Phil Jackson was very adamant about kids coming from high school, let alone early from college. He goes, they don't belong here. He did not like it. He was rough. I remember it was a interview when he was still in Chicago, obviously. He was like, they don't belong in the NBA, like straight up. So I think y'all need to just relax with Dalton Connect. By the way, the reason why I like Dalton Connect is he already can shoot. There's going to be value there. There's going to be value 2 ways with Connect. Either he's going to be part of a package that gets us a better player, or you keep him on the team and he will be a problem from distance once he figures out how to play in the NBA.
Well, and remember, you still have Gerald. You still have Dalton Connect under contract for the next 3 years.
If you decide to keep him.
If you decide to keep him. So, I mean, three years is a long time in an NBA career.
You can see it. He could score and he could shoot in this league. The problem is, can he play even acceptable defense? We've said this all season long. This is not a surprise.
We'll compare it. We'll compare it to let's use Max Christie since they played him today. Max Christie is not. He doesn't have a singular talent. He's just kind of low mid everywhere. He scores 9 points a game. He plays defense well here and there. He's just there. He's just there. He shoots 42% as a guard. He averages 9 points a game. He doesn't have that. With Dalton dropped 30 points in a game already early on in the season.
He's done it.
He can get hot. He can get hot. It's a problem when he starts making shots. And he makes shots with stuff in front of him too. He can get we talked about this for months. He can get elevation. He can get separation. That right there, guys, is like a quarterback, even though he's rusty, doesn't know how to read a defense yet all the way through. Maybe he can't handle pressure, because maybe his line isn't as good. What he can do, though, what he has shown, let's say, on that quarterback, is he can read a defense and accurately throw the ball. Right now, he can get separation and he can shoot the ball when he has the opportunity. Those are little things that are very important in the NBA, especially now with the way the NBA is. So for me, he deserves time to develop. He deserves time to learn. Maybe he's one of those guys that's like Gary Payton Jr. If you listen to how Gary Payton Jr. was coached from his dad, was brutal, by the way. But you could see Steve Kerr was harder on Gary Payton Jr. during their title run because he knew Gary Payton could handle it, Jr., because that's how he grew up. It was one of those guys that had to deal with just hard discipline. Well, he's getting the hard discipline from JJ.
It's a little different hard discipline because it's a lot like my dad and me. It's in your face discipline. It's right up in your face, and
not everybody can handle that.
Like right up in your face. I can, and so can a lot of other people.
Yes, figuring out defense. Maybe he's never going to be on the old. He's not going to be
like Gerald said,
Caruso.
it needs to be acceptable for today's game. So, one thing that is frustrating, and Gerald has pointed this out almost from the beginning, is that in order to effectively guard against screens and pick and rolls, you need to go over, not under screens.
He needs to play with force. I've been saying this all season
Gerald
long. He doesn't play with
pointed
force.
out he doesn't play with enough strength yet, where he has the confidence to try and do that. Until he can do that, his defense will not be acceptable. He keeps going under screens instead of over them. He keeps getting lost on rotations, Gerald. And I think he has trouble communicating because I don't hear him a lot out there defensively when he does get lost or there is separation. And I also think that, because you have a high expectation for yourself, you're kind of frustrated and you're being really hard on yourself. And that can be a positive or it could be a negative. It really depends on the circumstance.
You know how he always, every now and then tries to go to the basket, Sean, and tries to do the super slam. It never works out, though.
He shows way too early.
Yeah, exactly. He's winds up for like a whole week before it actually goes to the basket, but at least he's showing aggression there. He needs to show that kind of aggression on the defensive end. Mm-hmm. He needs to take it personally when somebody is trying to single him out or to take him off the dribble. He needs to take it personally when someone tries to bump him off of his space while defending a player. It needs to be more personal to him, because I don't think anybody has really had that conversation with him, Joe, where you just sit him down and say, you know what, if you can't play defense, you will not stay in this league no matter how good you shoot. I mean, Landry Shamet is on the back end of the New York Knicks roster, even though he's a career 40% shooter, because he's terrible on defense. Davis Bertans, as soon as he got that big fat contract, he just went downhill from there because he can't play defense. Is he the next in line to do that? The problem is now those guys were still getting their contracts when three-point shooting was still on its way up. Now that three-point shooting is kind of like matured to the point where it is now, a guy like Dalton may not be able to succeed unless he starts to focus, Joe, on the defensive end more promptly. I really want the kid to succeed. He does have a lot of tools on the offensive end. You can see it plain as day, but he's got to be at least acceptable on the defensive end, and he's not now.
I tend to feel confident that someone who has his athleticism can learn to at least be a decent defender. And this team is going to advance its roster on the back end to where it will help him, and he will be playing in his second, third year should he stay in LA, and he will have the chance to prove and put in the work. And we have to wait. And unless, again, this summer they put him in a package to get a better player, this is one of those things where you have to let this play out. You don't – even guys like Caruso and Reeves didn't play They didn't look like they look now. It's gonna take a minute. Let it play out. He has shown that he does have talent, and he has talent in an era that is important, and that is getting the shot off and making shots. Those 5 minutes that he would play this last 3-4 weeks, he always would hit the first or second shots. He's got the ability to do that, but he isn't registering the defense. He isn't registering the schemes well enough. He's not putting himself in the right spots. He's not guarding the right guy. He doesn't know how to switch quick enough. This is rookie stuff. Some rookies are going to take longer to develop. Even the ones that are maybe a little bit better, there are some that just won't develop as quickly. It just depends, right? That's what it is. But he's shown me enough. He just showed me enough where I think he deserves an opportunity down the road as he gets better.
But he does need a full summer in the weight room. He does need a full summer in the weight room.
And a coach.
His strength needs to improve greatly.
He does have the body and the frame. A man's body doesn't really mature, until between 28 and 32. That's when you're really mature in terms of your muscle development, and that area right there is right when you start getting into that your testosterone being where it needs to be, and then starting to go down. It's like right in that area. I'm happy with his ability. I'm excited to see what he can be. If he becomes a Luke Kennard, which I think it'd be fine. If it was another Luke Kennard, I think that'd be fine. But I think he's more athletic than Luke Kennard. Yes. And to me, that gives him an edge in being better than Luke Kennard, but having the ability to shoot like Luke Kennard. Luke Kennard, 1 year, I think his best season,
he led the league.
He led the league. He shot almost 50% from three, and he played a lot that year. I can't remember what it was, but I think it was 60 or 70
was it with
games.
Memphis?
Let me.
Or was it with the Clippers?
It was with the Clippers.
Yeah,
the Clippers.
He was. Yeah, it was with the Clippers. It was both Memphis and the Clippers. He played for the Clippers and Memphis that year. So 49%. Let me see here. He played 22 minutes and shot, just a hair below 50%. He was sixth man of the year. He was in the top 5 sixth man of the year in 2022. He played 70 games. That was the most he ever played. I think he can be better than that. I really do. Even if his defense is a C-, I think he still could be better than Luke Kennard. And
I agree. But he's right now at an F on the defense.
There's more. You can see the frustration in JJ's face. You know that there's a learning curve that isn't being curved, and JJ is hard on him. You can see it.
Magic Man, any thoughts?
That's a good point, Rodell. Hold on, I got to give credit to Rodell. Sorry, usually he's not saying the right things, but I got to give him the right. When he says something right, you got to give him credit too. Everybody wants me to give everybody credit now. John got all. Hey man, give people credit. Even though I've told you guys 100 times I like cash, but I'll give credit today so everybody feels. Are we all friends now? John, are you there? Sean, with your ass.
John could make it in
credit.
Today.
Let me repeat what Rodell said. Hold on. Rodell says, wait.
It's a family show.
I'll bring it up right here. Go ahead.
Okay, bring it up. Okay.
There you go.
No, that's not the one he said.
That's not the one? He said that Connect needs to get the damn waiver. Okay.
There it is. D Fish. Here we go. So D Fish was bad on defense, but he played with force and he was a bulldog. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Fish.
Both of those statements are correct.
D Fish, you guys want to hear venom on a player on defense. All you got to do is teleport yourself between 2003 and 2010.
Mm-hmm.
Minus the Utah stay and the Golden State stay, right? The disdain that the Lakers had on D Fish on defense was nothing compared to what Gerald does when Connect is playing defense. I mean, it doesn't even compare.
It was straight venom.
It was bad. It was bad. But the thing was, D Fish was quote unquote the vocal leader in the supportive way. He was a clutch shooter. He was trusted. So you guys all want everything to be perfect with every position.
That Joe, and by the way, Joe, that just tells you right there somebody who is a champion and Hall of Famer, Kobe Bean Bryant, they didn't give a F about their plus minus then if they were playing together. Because I'm sure he heard it too. Starting with D Fish, you're this and that. He just didn't give a what, because it didn't matter.
It was covered by the intangibles that Fish had. You're talking about, Fish essentially got Troy Hudson, who played for the Minnesota Timberwolves, close to a max contract. Mike Bibby, we thought Mike Bibby was going to be the next star because of D Fish. He fizzled away after about a year and change. So there was a problem. There was a major problem with D Fish on defense, but it didn't matter. He did everything else so well, and it did matter in those areas, and they won championships because of it, and won a lot of games because of it. I don't think Connect's going to be as bad as D Fish on defense. So imagine now if Connect is going to be someone who develops like Reeves, because how many times did we hear the freaking Reeves thing? Reeves doesn't play defense. Reeves, blah, 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 blah. Okay. We don't need to hear it every day. He's not going to be your shutdown player, guys. Wake up. But he does so many other things well. Imagine this. Connect is a better shooter than Austin. Austin handles the ball better, can get to the paint better, at least for right now. But let this thing develop. Let it develop, or if it's a piece on a much better setup, then we win either way.
Go ahead, Magic. You wanted to say something?
In a minute. Go on, Joe.
Okay. Okay, I got you. Go ahead. Go ahead, John.
I'm not trying to compare the two, but if you were looking for a physical comp for Dalton Connect, I look at somebody like Kyle Korver. I think Korver is 6'6", 6'7", so slightly taller than Dalton, but man, Gerald, he was thick and he was physical, and he could get off ball screens, and he could play a little bit of defense. He was in Jerry Sloan's system in Utah, and then he went to Bud in Atlanta and was on a 60-win Hawks team. So I think those two guys and their body type would be comparable. If I had to compare a body type of Dalton to what he could be, it would be somebody like Kyle Korver.
There you go. That's a good decent.
You know what's crazy, Sean, that you brought up Kyle Korver? He made an All-Star game.
Kyle Korver was a very good NBA player.
He was. He's like a. You know what he is. Kyle Korver is what Tanner Scott is in baseball. He's that guy you get to win you shots. Tanner Scott is the guy that shuts down three batters to win the game. Kyle Korver was the equivalent of that relief, because they don't stay in with one team. Those guys are usually loaned out, right? Not literally, but I'm saying that, Marlins have him 1 year, and then he goes to San Diego, and then he gets signed with the Dodgers. Like, those guys don't stay on one team. They're not starters. They're not like next level type guys.
And by the way, gentlemen, I believe Kyle Korver, product of California basketball.
He went to
Cal Bears?
Creighton, didn't he?
I thought he.
Creighton.
Yeah, he went to Creighton.
No, but he's from Paramount, I believe.
Oh, where he's from? Okay, I thought you meant the way you were saying.
Yeah, no. He's from California.
Yeah, he is. But he went to Creighton.
Yeah, somebody said, okay, who is saying that Dalton is better than Reeves? Man, Reeves just gets it from all ends today, guys. I mean, people thinking that Max Christie's better than Reeves, and now we got someone saying Dalton's better than Reeves.
It's not a small sample size. I think over the past 13 games, Reeves is averaging 26, 6, and 5. So don't give me any of this crap.
Oh, I'll just say that. Let me just put it this: Joe, Sean, answer this real quick question: who is going to get to $100 million contract first? Max Christie, Austin Reeves, or Dalton Connect?
Austin Reeves.
Austin Reeves.
Have you guys seen his averages the last 2 months?
Yes, they've gone
evidently
up,
not,
up,
Joe,
up,
because
up.
And this is coming with a lot of wins too. This isn't just empty stats. I'm not taking a lot of these things seriously because it doesn't make any sense. I mean, you already have somebody saying, "Why are you comparing him to Kyle Korver? Kyle Korver is not athletic." I'm like,
right now, San
I'm
Antonio
talking
leads
about
Golden State 55, 51.5.
I'm talking about effective games, close to certain players. They're not going to be identical. Austin Reeves took a few years to develop. The
Okay,
amazing,
and he's under contract too. Go ahead.
he
Joe.
is. Yeah, exactly. You're talking about a guy that's making $14 million. I bet you, if you calculate the annual salary and his productiveness, it's probably the top 3, if not maybe 1. I have to look at other contracts. I don't know, but that's a hell of a bargain to get what you're getting out of Austin for $14 million a year. You got to pay attention to the details, guys. This is a cap league. This isn't baseball. If you're getting this kind of production at $14 million, you're doubly winning. Because imagine if you're paying this guy $30 million, you're probably missing a couple guys in terms of depth on top of that.
And we won today's game, Joe and Sean, without a good performance from the bench. I mean, even though Dorian Finney-Smith was plus 29, his shooting numbers weren't all that great today. But Rui Hashimura, I know this is always a back and forth, guys, when it comes to DFS versus Rui, who should be in the starting lineup, who should not. I just think with the extra dynamic, because he's a little bit more of a consistent three-point shooter. I know that DFS has had a pretty good season shooting the three, but Rui is a little bit better scorer. I think he brings that dynamic. I understand his defensive abilities is not always the greatest, but today he, along with the rest of the Lakers, Sean, in that second half, they played collectively as a unit once again. We saw that really strong Lakers defense really do a number on AD. Did you see the way they were fronting him? They were constantly putting smaller men on AD, and AD was not able to continuously exploit that. They just really could not find an answer for the Lakers defense in that second half, Sean.
No, Gerald, and you bet on the law of averages is we talked about before, right? We're likely not going to shoot 50% from beyond the arc tonight in Dallas. So, and I'm going to bet that Najee Marshall isn't going to go off for 31 points in the second half because he's not going to get the same looks, and the Mavs aren't going to have, like Gerald said, the same purpose and determination to try and get to the basket. And Gerald, it just seemed like AD was kind of wallflowering it out there, kind of like tiptoeing through the tulips, as Tommy Tune would sing about. I'm just going to digress and veer off for a minute. Joe talked about value contract. So Reeves has, I think, the third most valuable contract as far as AAV value per production. I think you could say Jalen Brunson would be number one. He signed a below max deal with the Knicks, and he's outperformed that contract. I would say Reeves would be number two. Now, you could make a case for Beasley in Detroit, given he's got the second most points off the bench in the league, Gerald. And then after that, probably you would go Probably Triple J, although Gerald, that's not going to be a value contract when he makes an all NBA team with the voters, and the Memphis Grizzlies have to sign in that Supermax extension. That's not going to go down well. But getting back to the point at hand, yeah, the Mavs just didn't have an answer defensively in the second half, and they really do not have a devoted scheme, so to speak, because quite frankly, Gerald, if Kyrie Irving is out of that offense, they lose pretty much 90 to 95% of the creativity, because as much as Jason Kidd was a fantastic point guard in his day, Gerald, and he was, as a coach, he still has this weakness where he just does not understand 3 to 4 steps down the road. It seems like he's just a prisoner of the moment as a basketball coach. And you have to be able to, sorry, Joe. I was just going to say, well, I don't need to tell you guys. You have to have an instinct to anticipate or try to implicitly know what might happen if things start going a certain way. And he just doesn't have that ability, Gerald. He doesn't. And I think that it's a hindrance to being a great coach, because even if Kyrie played great in the NBA Finals, does anybody really think that the third element needed to be there for the Mavs to win? And one of those elements might have been Jason Kidd outcoaching Joe Mazzulla. None of you would say that that would even be possible. So we're talking about a coach that I think is just in over his head at this point, Gerald. And he just does not use a constant nor consistent offensive scheme.
I know, Joe, that some of our base, and again, I wouldn't argue with them, that we rely a lot on the small ball with our small ball lineups at times. Sometimes it does work against us, and I get that, especially on the boards at times. But today was not the case. The Mavs threw 3 7-footers out there and still got out rebounded by 1. Your thoughts on that, my friend? Was that more of a problem where the Lakers desired to get those rebounds, or was that more of an issue on the Maverick side? Because again, 3 7-footers and they still got out rebounded by the Lakers.
The league has rendered the big man, the traditional big men, almost extinct at this point in terms of effectiveness in a 48-minute game.
Comatose.
As soon as you spread any big man out, no matter how productive they are, or let's say there were 2 instances this year where the Lakers played all-star bigs. One was Jokic, the other tonight was AD. You just mentioned how they fronted him. That was one of the effective methods of defense that they used on Jokic, where they kept fronting him, making him uncomfortable. He couldn't get the ball to dictate the offense and find open guys and do what he does. They delayed it, much like how teams try to delay Luka by pressing him at the top of of half court.
And Joe, you try and explain this to the casual out there, and sometimes it can get. I'm sorry, Joe, to interrupt you, but sometimes this can get a little frustrating, because these same people who watch football wonder, oh well, you got to disrupt rhythm and timing. Duh, you got to do the same thing in the NBA. The rules are a little different. Go on, Joe.
Yeah, it's fine if you see a gap. I've been trying to slow up my gaps in my discussion so that if you have something to say, because I get into that mode where I want to say something and then all of a sudden I can't break in and then I forget.
Well, I'll use this analogy. Okay, I'll use this analogy. The Los Angeles Lakers treated SGA on Sunday what a great defense in college football would treat Shedeur Sanders like. get off the 5-yard quick pass and rush them like there's no tomorrow, because he can't throw the long ball, Joe.
You're asking someone who can't throw the long ball and isn't as athletic. Also, you're playing with fire unless he can read a defense really, really well.
And like we said, and I really think that people need to just start the comparison. Okay, you want to talk about the Pat Mahomes of the NBA? Luka Doncic is the Pat Mahomes of the NBA.
That's a good comp from that football to basketball. The NBA. Let's look at Oklahoma City. Even look at the fact that Chet Holmgren and Hartenstein, formidable guys, very formidable, and they struggled to guard the Lakers. They could not stop the Lakers from hitting shots. They shot well. They made 43s in those 2 games because you cannot guard perimeter guys with bigs, no matter how good they are. It's hard. You have to be a freak. You have to be AD in 2020. You have to be Giannis. Those guys don't grow on trees. And even AD really only did it 1 year. Sort of 2 years. I'll give him 2021 when he wasn't hurt. But really, I've only seen AD at his peak. Like, I'm talking his potential peak 1 year. Even his time in 16 and 17 when he was in New Orleans, he still was lacking something. 2020 was his only year where he hit the spot. So you're asking now guys like Hartenstein, who aren't as good as AD, and he never will be as good as AD. Hell, he won't even be as good as AD in his secondary mode. And then Chet Holmgren has, quote-unquote, the potential of being this guy, but I don't think he has the motor, and I don't think he has the mindset yet. Will he develop it? I don't know. But I haven't really seen it yet to guard guys that can shoot. These aren't coincidences, when you talk about it. They're not. And guess what, guys? Much like a dominant defense or a dominant offense in football, at some point, the league catches up. The teams figure you out. You have to be in constant adjustment. They've even figured out to a degree based off of film and years now, like Mahomes. Mahomes, he's not as invincible as he used to be. Like between 2018 and 2021, he was virtually unstoppable. 2022, 2023, even though he won, you saw that there was more defense involved there. There was more methodical thinking, more adjustments on him saying, look, I'm not going to be the guy that's going to win this. Let me scale back a little bit, play better team football. This is the stuff that you have to do in any sport. You have to adjust. Sometimes you got to scale back as a star. Peyton Manning had a hard time doing that. Dan Marino had a hard time doing that, and that's why they didn't win as much as they should have. Tom Brady could do it. Tom Brady did it in the I always forget what Super Bowl was. 57 against the Rams. He knew he couldn't get the ball where he wanted. He knew that Aaron Donald needed to be neutralized in that Super Bowl. Otherwise, he would have been sacked. He would have been hurt. It would have been a problem. He got the ball out quick. He ran the ball. He let the defense, which to me, in my there's been a lot of defenses that were amazing. The 2000 Ravens, the 2003 Bucks, hell, even the 08 Steelers, the Chicago Bears 85 team. But that Super Bowl was the best coach defense I had ever seen in a Super Bowl. Belichick had McVay running backwards, and he thought he was going forwards. And he even admitted it after the game. He's like, I had no idea what the hell was going on. So when we talk about this team, when we talk about playing smart, what did they do when they finally hit that area where they're like, shit, we just relinquished a 13-point lead. We're not taking advantage of the fact that they have 3 bigs, not just 2, 3. Get to the basket, open up the offense a little bit more. If you want them to go after LeBron at the basket, he'll get the foul call at that point, right? Or he'll get the basket. And if you collapse, you're going to throw the ball to whoever's open and they'll make the shots. And that's what happened. Instead, they said, "Look, we're not going to let these guys make shots." LeBron had a field day at the rim, and that was it. It was closed. It was over at that point. You could see it. They were deflated at the 7 or 8 minute mark. As soon as they took, I think it was a 7-point lead. There's a lot, man. It's a lot. I mean, it's not. I know that Sean and I are kind of sports nerds. I know that's not everybody's watching the games like we do. You watching the game, you're watching the ball. You're watching who has the ball, and you're just waiting for somebody to make a shot or miss a shot. I get it, but that's why you're listening to the show. We're here to help you do that. We're helping you understand what's going on, and it's not as simple as, "Oh, he sucks." Have some like common sense a little bit. Not every Reeves, as good as he's been playing, he is still never going to be a megastar. He's going to be maybe an all-star. He might be an all-star. He might be might make a couple all-star games, but he's never going to be LeBron or Luka or a Jokic. So if you see him not have a good game or neutralized to some degree because he's playing against athletes that are really, really good or whatever, relax. Like, understand what you're looking at, especially with the value that he brings according to the system and how it's played out. $14 million with what he's been doing, you got to be kissing his feet at that point.
One of the last things I wanted to bring up for today's game was Magic Man. We all talked about how motivated Luka Doncic would be for tonight's game. But we also thought that Anthony Davis would be really hyped up for today's game as well. I was expecting like a 35-12 performance, something where he was playing like was the first 5 games of the season when he was playing at an MVP like level. And today, whether you want to attribute it all to the Lakers defense, you can if you want, but some of it, again, goes back to the reasons why trading AD at this time was probably a good move, or definitely a good move, in my opinion, was because he just lacks aggression at times. He doesn't want to go ahead and step up to that number one mantle as much as he should. LeBron for years wanted to give him and hand over the mantle to him and hand him the torch, and he didn't want to take it. He likes being that 1A. And we saw tonight, again, the Lakers did provide good defense on him, but when he needed to step up for the Mavs, it just didn't happen, Magic Man. Magic Man, we've lost you on sound, and you're not on mute.
Yeah, I think he's thinking, isn't he?
No, he was talking. See, he's trying to talk now, and it's not on mute. So,
just come back in, Sean.
Yeah, you might need to come back in, go back out. So, Joe, I bring that same question to you. Anthony Davis, again, part of the reason why we traded him, and we were, quite frankly, thinking that the time between the window had closed with LeBron and AD was just that AD did not want to take that mantle. Go ahead, Sean. Sean.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you now. So tell us your thoughts on AD tonight.
SpaghettiOs. He spilled
Okay.
SpaghettiOs all over himself tonight, Joe. He's kind of reminds me of that 5-year-old that spills all the sauce on its thing. It's little bib. It's very, very similar. Front him, double team him, bring double teams from different angles because, as we've talked about, ardently drilled for years, AD just didn't learn how to adjust to doubles. He didn't learn it at Kentucky. He really didn't learn it and develop it in New Orleans, and neither did the staff there because Anthony was pretty much a better shooting version from the outside of KG. That's at least the profile coming out of Kentucky was that he was pretty much a KD clone, a KG clone that could shoot the three. And Gerald, remember, Tom wanted AD at one point to average 6 threes a game. Darvin Ham thought that was a good idea too. Just leave him out on the perimeter. And I believe he was 0 for 3 tonight or 0 for 2. I can't remember, but I
Wonder who called that, Sean.
Oh, I remember when Tom brought that up, Gerald. You had the same look Joe had when Danny did his little dance. So
Yeah.
I Mavs fans expect the same. Expect the same.
And he's 31, Magic
Mhm.
Man. So it's not like his game is going to improve all that much. So
Mhm.
Joe, again, these are things that window had closed.
It's like Gerald when you're a fashion house. It's you're getting the older Naomi Campbell. You're not getting the Naomi Campbell in her prime. You're
And
getting
his insistence that he wanted another 7-footer alongside him. They
well, of
wanted to
course,
play power forward.
because he's Dick. He's deep down. He's not Bruce Wayne, Gerald. He's Dick Gregory. He likes being the
Dick
side.
Grayson. Dick Grayson.
Dick Grayson.
Whatever. I don't give a.
But Dick, you could say Dick Gregory too.
I don't. I don't. Joe, please stop correcting me when I don't do
serious.
that to you.
That actually would work too. It just wouldn't be Batman. It wouldn't be in the Batman universe.
Again, Joe, I think we had just run out our time.
The only Dick I know is Dick Tracy.
What was that, Gerald?
I was just saying the window had closed with AD and LeBron. I just think people need to.
Oh no! The window didn't close. This is the beauty of this trade too. What is best to advance in terms of progression, especially in sports? Getting out of something when it's not yet completely gone. You just a little earlier than you want.
Branch Dickey always said, I wanted to trade a player a year before people said I should.
Bill Walsh said it.
Go ahead,
Belichick, I think Belichick bucked that trend by going 3 years before they're ready, right?
But Branch Dickey pretty much came up with the concept.
Yeah. And this more important, not more important, just almost just as important as receiving what the Lakers got. They were able to unload on a player that was that in that area a year earlier, because you're going
to two stocks. One's this, and one's this.
And it's just it is what it is. It is what it is. I'm not disrespecting Anthony Davis. I'm very happy he was a Laker. There was frustration with him, but at the same time, you can't really get frustrated. You can't get frustrated at someone when you know who they are. It's like I always had this example for when my supplier was not where it is now. There was a gentleman that worked there. His name was Adam. He was the warehouse guy, and he was phenomenal at what he did in the warehouse. But if you told him to go outside and flag the traffic, he wouldn't know what to do. He just wouldn't. So you didn't expect him to go outside and think. But man, if you told him to get something to the inch on a product, he had it down to a science. Anthony Davis, and I know we all knew deep down he would never. After 2022, I had come to the realization that AD was never going to be the guy ever in the league. He had the potential, he had the game, but he just never wanted it enough. And I was wrong on that. I thought he was going to win MVPs after 2020. I thought, oh man, these guys solved this shoot happy league. AD played like the perfect basketball player at that point with LeBron, and I was ecstatic. I thought they were going to win at least 2 or 3 championships. But I think AD is really good at if you're asking AD to run a marathon, he's not going to run the marathon to win. He's going to run the marathon to say, hey, I ran the marathon. I accomplished something. Yay. And that's just who he is. And I guess he might have some say that is in the positive way. The guy's won in every tournament, every level. At least once. He's won an NCAA championship. He's won in FIBA. He's won in the Olympics. He's won an in-season tournament. He's won everything. So, hell of a career, top 75 player, but unfortunately, there was a lot left on the table in my view of his career. He should have been bigger than he's going to be. And I even say that about Shaq to a degree. But the good thing with Shaq is he had an 8-year run. He had actually a longer, it's more like a 10-year run where he was very dominant. And he had a 3-year window where he was at that prime square range where he got screwed royally by voters. He should have been a 3-time, he should have been a 3-peat MVP in 2000, 2001, and 2002. And he was as dominant of a force that I've ever seen, and I don't think we'll ever see anything like that.
Last thing before we go, guys.
Peaked. Shaq peaked. I just think he should have won more. But it is what it is.
It is what it is.
Yeah, sorry. I don't think he won in high school, Blue Magic, at least not that I know of. I actually looked into that. Did he win in high school?
I could look. But I wanted to go ahead and touch on one last thing, guys, before we head out. And that was the constant chance, Magic, and the constant support. The Mavericks crowd, the crowd in that building got mad when Luka got called for a foul or got called with something erroneous as far as on the offensive end. They hated everything that was thrown against Luka. They were supporting Luka more than their own team, Magic. They were constantly bringing up fire Nico chants, fire Nico, all game long. It was. I said it on the show. I said it on the stream. It was surreal just seeing the amount of support for an individual, for an opposing player, more than the team. It felt like it was a road game for the Mavs tonight. How just strange was it? But what does it say about how Luka was such a great contributor for all these years to the Dallas Mavericks?
I have to say, Gerald, as far as surreal environments and crowds go, this is definitely top 5 for me all time in NBA history. Obviously, you could throw the OKC Utah game with the COVID protocol, Gerald. You could talk about the mouse at the palace. We can talk about a lot of them, but this ranks up there. I mean, LeBron's return to Cleveland. Yeah, this ranks up there for me because, as you said, it was so surreal. I've never heard consecutive chants of fire Nico, and then on the opposite end where the Lakers fans were sitting, you heard thank you, Nico, thank you, Nico. And then it was almost like watching the prison scene from Batman, Gerald, where the voices just they rise up and up and up as Batman is climbing out of the prison there. That's what it felt like with the fire Nico. It felt like it was getting higher and higher as the game went on and ultimately ended. And I think this was a deliberate effort by the MFFL, Gerald, I believe, Mavs Fans for Life. I believe they coordinated this kind of response because I wasn't too sure what kind of behavior we were going to see tonight. I thought some of it would be ravenous. I really did. I thought that there's going to be a lot of venom. But, they saved all their hostilities for Nico at the end and gave Luka the applause he deserved. Now, again, as you said, Joe, it was freaking weird as hell to see Mavs fans cheering for a Laker. I'll never see that again as long as I live, but it was a surreal experience.
Yeah, Joe, I think Hubbard High School won a conference, but it just says conference championship, not a state championship. You're on mute. I got you off mute.
Who confirmed that?
I was just looking on this. Yeah, I looked it up. It's
I know who mentioned it that he'd won in high school. I want to let them know
I
that
don't know
they're right.
who was asking that in the chat. I know you mentioned it, so I looked it up for you on that. But yeah, just final thoughts.
So AD's won in every level in every way. That's remarkable.
And he'll be a Hall of Famer, no question, no doubt. Congratulations. We haven't even said on the show to all the Hall of Famers, including Melo and Dwight Howard, who got inducted in, or excuse me, got voted in on first ballot last week. But Joe, before we headed out, again, it was a surreal night.
No, Martin. I don't think LeBron knew. There's no evidence of him knowing. Actually, there's common sense evidence that he didn't know.
Yeah.
There's no way his people wouldn't have leaked this. There's no way.
Are we having this argument again?
I'm just saying, you're talking about Clutch. They didn't tell Clutch because they knew they would rat it out. This is Anthony Davis is their client. This thing would have came out. There's no way. LeBron did not know.
And if it would have leaked out, Joe, most likely it would not have happened.
Absolutely. You would have had a bunch of crybaby bitches whining about it. Yeah. That's how it works. When the Lakers are whooping your ass in the office, all of a sudden you start crying and bitching like Mark Cuban and Gilbert and Greg Popovich.
Yeah, Cuban, I don't think even knew.
Fuck Cuban.
He would have ratted it out too. He's a rat too. He would have.
Yeah, he's a rat. Two-faced fuck.
Because remember, he was the one that made the statement. He'd rather divorce his wife than trade Luka and see how that
will show what respect you have for your wife, even if that's a joke.
Before we head on out, again, Magic Man talked about the surreal night. I wanted you to go ahead, if you could, talk about what you observed with the atmosphere there going on in the arena, from all the emotion that was shown, the love, the outpouring of love that was shown for Luka, but also just the fact that it just seemed like the entire crowd was wanting Luka to succeed and the Lakers to win.
This is not, at least for me, I'm a Laker fan. I've only had Luka's been a Laker for 3 months. 3 months? Yeah.
February 2nd. So
okay,
two
plus months. I don't feel what Luka felt in Dallas. It's different when it was Kobe, right? Kobe was a Laker for 20 years, so you can get emotional about his last game or his last championship or his last 60-point game, whatever. I felt bad for him, if anything. You could see it hurt him. And what's weird is the way they trashed him. I still don't understand why you would trash this guy. It's just, it doesn't make any sense. Every player that has played with him, I've never heard one thing negative about Luka Doncic other than his complaining of the ref. That's it. What the hell did this guy do? We were so cynical around that time. I even thought, I'm like, did this guy do something behind the scenes? Did he Marcus Allen, Al Davis in this thing with this ownership? That was what came up. That's what came into my mind. For those of you who don't know what that means, Marcus Allen was blackballed by his own owner and wasn't able to leave L.A. at the time, the L.A. Raiders, and he was basically set in. It was bad.
Limbo.
It was he was in constant limbo until free agency was approved in 1993. Then he was able to leave and go to Kansas City. I don't know what this is. I don't get it. None of it makes sense other than this team did not want to pay Luka the money. That's the only thing that makes sense to me. Or that was part of it, but they also didn't want Luka to be bigger than ownership, because a lot of these guys are egotistical dick faces. The owners, think about that for a second. You have a billion-dollar owner, and imagine what the ego is there. And these guys are all about trying to get gambling and casinos. They're even bigger jizz stains because, that's their business. So they're like, who the hell is Luka Doncic? We're worth X amount of billions of dollars. We're not going to let this guy be the guy here. We're the people. We're the owners. That's what it looks like. And they set their little wee-wees on this and said, we're going to act like we have the bigger wee-wee. by trading him. Compensating, right? That's what this world is all about 90% of the time, compensating. Hey, I got to put my picture on Instagram with my gym shorts and my, hey, I'm working out. Yeah. I'm attacking life. I'm attacking life. Go get it, girl.
This is what
right?
Joe, this is what Pat Dumont said after the Luka trade. If you look at the greats in the league, the people you and I grew up with, Jordan, Bird, Kobe, Shaq, they worked really hard every day with the singular focus to win. And if you don't have that, it doesn't work. And if you don't have that, you shouldn't be part of the Dallas Mavericks. That shows a complete lack of knowledge of NBA history, Joe. To put Shaquille O'Neal in the category of those other players who did work their asses off every day just shows how incompetent, thoughtless, maroonish, nincompoopery this idea and this concept was of trading a diamond for some frankincense. That's what they did.
It's
a complete lack of knowledge by the new ownership of the Dallas Mavericks.
It's the stupidity that benefits the Lakers. So in the end, thank you for being stupid. It's a balance.
It is. It's a thank you for being stupid, Gerald. It really is.
The Earth and the solar system and the galaxy and the revolving of Earth and planets to the sun that's so perfectly balanced that we're able to exist. That's in the end, that's what it comes down to in life, right? That's all the astrology, all the Aries and Pisces and Scorpios and meditating in the morning and making sure you have positivity here and blah, 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 blah. At the end of the day, it's all about a balance, right? Well, the stupidity was balanced here by having the Lakers get something that put them where they really needed to go. They needed to be balanced by Luka with LeBron so that now they have a future. Might not be a good comparison on how I said it, but the point is, what is that stupid quote? One man's trash is another man's treasure. These guys threw away golden bars. That's what they did. And they didn't just throw it in the dumpster where no one knew where it was. They literally went to your house, knocked on your door, and said, we're going to throw gold bars in your trash and leave and not tell anybody. Okay. Oh, and by the way, the Lakers, after they got the gold bars out of their trash, they went and bought a bunch of shit, came to your house, and their shit was better than yours. And they showed it off tonight. I mean, seriously, what else could it be? What secret is out there for this to happen? I don't know. Maybe we'll find out in a year. Maybe we'll find out in 10 years. I don't know. But right now, I don't give a shit at all. But it's good discussion. It's good fun.
Once again, the Lakers with the victory tonight, 112-97. They are currently 49-31 on the season. Want to go ahead and correct that from earlier. 49-31 on the season. Again, with a victory, one more, or a loss, I think, from some of these teams below them, which probably will not happen tonight because Denver, Golden State, they're both leading right now. So it looks like they're both leading by double digits in the second half, so it does not look good for that. The Lakers, though, with a victory in one of their final two games, can secure the third spot. Joe will probably be on later tonight with the Joe Soro experiment. Is that correct?
More than likely, yes.
Okay. What's this deal with you and Gregory? He says, no, Joe, I'm not talking about you at all. I don't know what you guys were talking about in the first place.
Yeah. So he had mentioned that Laker fandom can be obnoxious. I'm paraphrasing what he said.
Okay.
They can be kind of jackasses, right? And he's right.
Oh, yeah.
They are jackasses. And we can come off as jackasses too, but we have a little bit more. I would like to think we have a little bit more knowledge and credibility in how we articulate why we're kind of crazy when it comes to Laker games. I'm not coming from. My disdain for certain things that the Lakers do isn't coming from, there's an 82 game season and sometimes things don't work out. A lot of the mistakes that they would make are unforced and shouldn't be happening because the talent level is at a level that shouldn't be making those mistakes, especially when it's reoccurring. My disdain for not being able to inbound the ball should never be balked at. That's not you all have to be with me on that one because that cannot happen. And it cannot happen when you have Luka Doncic on your team at the end of games. This whole point of why he's great is predicated on the fact that he has a clutch gene. Use it. Use it. He doesn't get the ball enough at the end of games. Make plays for it. That's the point. That's the whole point of this thing. That you got that guy that can do it. Use it. And if LeBron wants the ball or you want to create something to help him get him to the basket. I mean, work with your strengths. Work with your strengths. Michael Jordan, when it came down to hitting the game-winning shot, what would he do? He would create separation to get to that 18-foot mark and hit the mid-range. Kobe, you can put him anywhere on the court. You could put 7 guys in front of him. He'll shoot over him. Or he can get to the basket, or he can hit the mid-range shot, or so on and so on. Kareem, get him down on the block, let him shoot the sky hook. Game winner. First game Magic was in, right? I mean, work the strengths and make sure that the fundamental stuff is done. That's what makes me angry. If it's a game like the Golden State game recently, they were hitting every shots. That happens. Sometimes the other team just keeps making shots. There's nothing you can do about it. It is what it is. You take it, you swallow it, and you go home. Hope next time it doesn't happen again. But you cannot make mistakes. Like some of the games that they've lost, these were not the other team making them make the mistakes all the time. This was brain dead, slow activity above the neck things that I don't care how old you are or how young you are, you cannot make these mistakes. And if you keep making the same mistake over and over again, it's the job of management, it's a job of the coaches to make sure that those same people aren't making those mistakes. That's all I ever ask. Because you can't beat Shai Gilgeous-Alexander one-on-one if you have Dalton Connect on him. If that happens, that is a coaching mistake, but also maybe the team was able to have that play be created because of good coaching on the other side, and now Shai Gilgeous is going to beat Connect. I'm not going to sit there and go, "Oh my God, Connect, what the hell were you thinking?" No, then you're kind of stupid if you do that. No, you're not going to win that. It's a lot of stuff. It's a lot of stuff that's emotion and 82 games and trades and all that. There's a lot of stuff going on. Sometimes we're wrong. I've been wrong more this year than I can remember in my entire sports life. This has been a very bad year for me. It has been. I'll admit it.
Pass the mic, Joe, according to ER.
There you
But
go.
then he agrees. I don't know. Okay.
Is that good?
Evidently.
Well, no, I know what he means. I'm just joking. I know what
There
ER
you go.
means. He didn't mean it literal.
I know, I hear you. But once again, it is the Lakers fast break. The Lakers are now 49-31. They have clinched a playoff berth with a 112-97 victory. Luka Doncic 45 points tonight and a stellar performance and a great second half defense by the Lakers. Magic Man, any last thoughts before we head on out?
Absolutely, Gerald. So as the standings are right now, the Lakers are a full 1.5 games up on Denver and the Clippers and the Warriors and the Grizzlies for third place.
Mhm.
Because the Clippers and Warriors play each other the last game of the season, Gerald, that means one of them would have 33 losses. If the Lakers finished 0-2, they would still own the tiebreaker against the loser of that team.
Mhm.
So that means technically, even though the Lakers just clinched the 6th, they can't finish any lower than really 5th. So it's essentially 3, 4, and 5 that the Lakers will likely finish, with probably 3 and 4 being the most likely.
Again, we'll see what happens. Right now, again, as we are going off the air, Denver and also Golden State lead by double digits in the third quarter as it gets into the fourth quarter for both these teams. So
It's looking like the last day of, and this is good for the NBA. The last day is going to dictate seeding. We're going to have to wait till the end of the week.
Well, and on the plus side, Saturday there are no games, so everybody gets a day's rest.
there you go. We'll see what happens. But again, we'll be here to cover it all for you at the Lakers Fast Break. But don't forget, tonight he may drop another Joe Soro experiment on his Joe Soro experiment channel, talking about the Dodgers win today and the Lakers win today. I see it, Joe. It went from everything bad to everything good.
We talk
today.
about the balance. Yesterday was a bad day. Today was a good day. And it balances out.
And wasn't it nice of the NBA, Joe, to go ahead and rescind, like Sean Grice talked about yesterday?
Gerald, I was
T?
calm until right now. Why did you have to do this? Why do you keep
somebody's gonna ask.
poking the bear? I didn't want to talk about yesterday.
I'll just
and I don't
say
want to
you
talk about
disagreed with
rescinding
it.
shit. Rescinding means dick.
I just wanted to compliment Magic Man because he called it. Yeah.
I did call it, Joe.
I know, I remember.
And I'll leave it at that. Don't forget to like and subscribe on the way out. Again, much
You're at the
appreciation.
game, Greg? In DC? I didn't know you were in DC.
That's
cool.
There you go. Absolutely. Lucky
Whose
win
game to be
for
at?
our Dodgers. There you go. But congratulations again to the Los Angeles Lakers and Luka Doncic. But big shout out to Rafael Quabina, Daniel Berry Sports Highlights, and a big thank you to No Joker for the super chat. Absolutely cannot thank you enough for doing so. Once again, it is the Lakers Fast Break. We'll be back. Maybe back for a snack pack tomorrow, but also we'll be back on Friday for the Lakers in Houston. Definitely go ahead and catch us there, but always catch us with the latest news and information on the Lakers and the NBA playoff chase right here at the Lakers Fast Break Podcast. Where's your Joe?
What are you talking about? I'm not breathing when I do that like a weirdo.
Well, you are a weirdo.